Hello, thanks so much for coming. There's so many of you, what a treat. I firstly just wanted to start by saying speaking at Stylist Live was on my goal list 4 years ago. And don't worry, the irony of speaking about goal setting at Stylist Live is not lost on me. So thank you, Stylist Live, for having me. And yeah, what a great event to be part of. So I'm Nicky, as you can see, and I do lots of things. So I'm a trained actor, I'm a business and life coach, I'm a speaker, I have a podcast, I'm a mum, I'm a daughter, I'm a partner, I'm a friend. We all do lots of things, right? And what I want to talk about today is actually there has never ever been a better time to do lots of different things and to create our own version of what we actually want. Because do you know what? I grew up in Lincolnshire in the north where we had to tick a lot of boxes. We had to do the right thing, we had to get the right GCSEs, we had to get the right A-levels, we had to marry the right man who may have been the wrong man. We had to do all of the things. And now we're really in this exciting time where we have the internet and we can make our own pick and mix. So I'm really excited to share my toolkit with you today, and hopefully you can take away lots of things that will help you plan going forward. So if you do want to take any notes, feel free, grab anything, or if you just want to listen as well, that's totally fine. So the first exercise that I want to share with you, just to get your creative flow thinking, and why I'm really passionate about this topic of goal setting and, actually being committed to what you want to do. I want you to go back to that age where you were in that really playful place, where you were maybe living your best life. My coach said to me a little while ago, go back to the age when you were 7. And I do remember being 7, actually. 7, I just felt like 7 was so much better than 6. I was like, I'm 7, I've got a shell suit, whatever. I know what I am doing with my life. And sometimes what I do when I'm in that funk of feeling really overwhelmed and stressed and to-do lists and like I'm not winning at life in the slightest. I mean, I'm sure you lot all are. But I know myself, when I'm in that space of just chug, 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 getting through the day, sometimes my 7-year-old actually knows all the answers because she knows how to play. She's a bit sassy. She knows how to ask for what it is that she wants. But also that 7-year-old in me really believes that lots of things are possible. And that's quite exciting, because when you're in that moment of like, I'm never going to get everything done, I've got to put a wash on, my child hasn't slept, all these things, that's not necessarily the best creative headspace to be in. So I just wanted to kick things off and share a few of my goals. These are just a few. The top one, it's a daybed in St. Lucia. I feel like a lot of my goal setting going forward, I'd like to have daybed featured. Just a lot of time lounging, snacking, reading a few books, that sort of stuff. Second picture is of my 2 boys, my man and my baby, just having a cup of tea on the sofa. So I guess why I wanted to start with those is that actually the big goals don't necessarily have to be the walk-in wardrobe or the castle in the country or the millionaire husband. I mean, they're all fine, but they don't need to be on the list for 2019. The third one along is me sharing my business and creating something from my phone and from my laptop, essentially. Being able to have that flexibility in my work. And I know you see so many of these pictures of people living their best life on beaches and things like that. I'm a ginger. I should not be living my best life on a beach. No way. This is in the park. It's shady. I've got a coat on. It's great. The fourth one along is a picture of a house It's not the house that I walk past almost every day and kind of give a little nod of like, see you in 3 years. And bizarrely, the woman the other day who lives there reversed out the drive and ushered me past. And I was like, is this a sign? Is this a sign from the universe that I should live there? But living in that dream house and thinking about that future for my family and having all those, big hallways with the Christmas tree, you know what I'm talking about. The next one along is about that boardroom. We're in a really exciting time now for women, certainly. Oh, and it's so bloody brilliant to have so many of you here as well. We're in a really exciting time for sharing stories, for showing different kinds of women and diversity and stories. And one day I do want to have that production company where I act, I produce, I direct, I do all of those things. That's coming soon. Maybe not next year. Finally, we've got a little kind of creative cove at the bottom of the garden. We've got some shoes. I do own these shoes. They were bought in a bargain bin in office in about 2002. And I bought them because they're about £5, but I felt like I needed them in my life. I cannot walk in them. They're definitely sitting down shoes. But what I do is if I ever have to have a photograph taken, I stand in them because suddenly they just make me feel, a bit Beyonce, whatever. The middle one at the bottom is all about that adventure and that sense of going to places. And finally, speaking, audiences, filling seats, bringing people together, events. I love all of that stuff. So I want you to think about your goals in this exciting way, and maybe you want to create your own version of this, of pulling together the images. Because I'll tell you why. According to life coach Tony Robbins, around 80% of people will have given up on their resolutions by the 2nd of February. And there's such pressure to be able to have nailed it by the 1st of January. And the 2nd of February is not necessarily that inspiring. So why do you think this might be? Firstly, the 1st of January is not a great time to set goals and think about your dream life because you're probably hungover. You're full of cheese, you've had a lot of savory dishes, you've been having a lot of quality streets, your energy is a bit low. So when you're writing things like, I definitely feel like this is a year where I go to the gym, it never is for me, I don't want to go to the gym, don't make me go, I'll do the other things that I want to do. But really thinking about that time, the 1st of January, you're full of cheese, it's cold outside, you've probably had a late night the night before, and therefore you're probably going to need a nap. So why would you be thinking about your future life and what you want to do with that? And also what happens when we're in that situation of goal setting, we start to write really random things down. Has anybody ever done that? Written things on their goal list that they have no intention of doing? That they've written stuff down that they just think, that would be good. I'm going to learn to ski. No, I don't want to learn to ski. I am not a skier. I mean, no. But what we end up doing is we write these vague, random things that are never going to help us. So what I want to do today is to give you a bit of a toolkit that you can work with. Okay, so let's look at goals, and maybe on the left-hand side, take a photo by any means. On the left-hand side, we have these reasons why maybe we don't move forward. And the ones on the right-hand side are things that we can do to combat this, to make this kind of work for us. So the first one is this fear of failure. How many times have you had that idea? Or maybe you've watched something, you've seen a TED Talk, or maybe you've gone away from today and you go, I'd like to do Stylist Live, or whatever it might be. And then suddenly it dawns on you that maybe it's not a great idea to do that, because what if you fail? What if it goes wrong? What if you lose all your money? What if you have to go back to Golden Wonder Crisp Factory where I worked when I was 17? That is always in the back of my mind of please do not let me pack those boxes anymore. But we talk ourselves into this fear of failure, and sometimes making a change, we can really expand this to something bigger than it isn't. So the way that you can combat this is to set yourself up for success. So if you have something that you really want to do and that is really calling you, and it's that moment that you wake up at 5 to 3 every single morning like, I can't stop thinking about it. Set yourself up for success by surrounding yourself with people who really support you, who get you, who will champion you, even if they have no clue what it is that you want to do. We're in a fantastic world where there's so many people out there who can help you. And I'm sure in this room, so many would be able to help each other. So never be afraid to ask for help in order to go to that next level. Number 2, lack of clarity. How many times have we written things like, I just want to be happier, I just want more money, I just want to feel more like me? They're quite hard to action on a day-to-day basis. You know, get ready for the day, leave, get on the bus. Yeah, I just want to feel like me. You don't quite know what it means or what it's all about. So really take the time to be clear while you can. And this is not indulgent activity. I mean, I'm from the north, you know. I shouldn't technically be a life coach. I should be, you know, putting up and shutting up and all that kind of stuff. But it is that thing that take an hour, take 10 minutes, write notes when you're on your bus, and really delve deeper into what this means for you. So if you want to have more money, how much do you want to have? What do you want to do with that? Give that money a purpose and really get clear on it. 3, permission. This comes up so much with my clients. So often they come to me and they're like, I've got the plan, I know what I want to do, by 6 months' time I'm going to have this, I'm going to have this client, this is what I'm building. But there's always a mindset piece that comes as part of that. So really turn up your awareness and go, what are those things that stop me every single time I try to make progress? And it could be that moment of going, I'm not enough, or I'm not like this, or I need to be more like this, or people like me don't do that. I want you to really know that it's okay to want what you want. And sometimes it will take a little bit of a time. 4 years, Stylist Live, I'm available. But it will take a bit of time, but your time will come. And sometimes you need to be the leader in that. You need to be the person who will say, it's totally possible. I had it at an audition the other day. My partner and I were there with our 3-year-old, and an actor who was 10 years younger than me said, I didn't think it was possible that you could be an actor and have children. And I thought, yes, even though my child was behaving, but I just needed to share that, yes, it is possible. Things are changing and moving and shaking. 4, excuses. And do you know what? When you're in that mindset of making changes, we will convince ourselves of all the things. The universe is giving me a sign. That door shut on me, so maybe it's not for me. And when we're in that mindset, you will find more and more of that evidence of why you shouldn't do something. So, number 4, the kind of way that you can work with that is to choose again. I know everybody always starts diets or whatever, or healthy eating or whatever it is on a Monday, but by Tuesday they're running to the pub going, let's just have dinner out, shall we? Let's just do that. And so suddenly by Wednesday they're like, well, it's gone wrong this week, so I'll just wait until next Monday. The thing is, you don't have to live by anybody else's structure. You can just simply choose again. 5, sometimes we don't have room for change. So you know when you want to buy a new sofa, you've actually got to figure out whether it's going to fit in your house. I did have this once with an ex-boyfriend where I thought we could take a futon on a tram. It didn't end well for the futon or the relationship. But I was just like, yeah, we can. I was really determined. But certainly if you want to have that new sofa and you want to shake up your living room, you've got to make room for it. And that's certainly what happens when we're bringing new things into our lives as part of, I think someone at the back's got a futon story as well. But yeah, I think it's that sense that we have to make sure that we can physically have room to put something new. Now you may be thinking, I can't afford a new sofa. I'm not getting a new sofa. Do you see? The voices, the permission, it all goes there. But what you can start to do is think about your goals right now. And that might be, exploring sofas on Pinterest, going into sofa shops and sitting down on them, just kind of wondering what sort of shade of velvet that you would like, but really enjoying that moment, because sometimes these goals that we want to set for ourselves, they take a long time to come into fruition. Number 6, it's easier to stay the same. I know it is. I know. And sometimes when we're in our comfort zone, where things are chugging along and we're just saying like, yeah, it's fine, work, and we're sort of saying these stock phrases. I know that it's easier to say the same, but one thing that will help you to move away from that and push yourself just a little bit out of your comfort zone is knowing your why. And it doesn't have to be a Miss America, I just want to save the world type situation. It's about getting it really personal for you. What is your why? Why do you want to do the thing that you want to do? And you will probably have many whys. You may have your overall why and your legacy for your life, but there may be individual roles or whys that you want to work with as well. And number 7, sometimes we don't make the progress we want because the goal is too big. I mean, people just write random things like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire by next year. It's too big sometimes. I mean, unless, I don't know. We're not going to go there. But it can be too big. It can be too overwhelming. We don't know the first step. We don't know how to move forward. So what you can do in that moment is to really break it down. And sometimes around this time of year, it's good between, what do you want between now and Christmas? Or what does the first part of the year look like? I always try and look at my life and my business in terms of seasons, because, I like to think I'm a bit of a part-time athlete. But really thinking, what does the final quarter of the year look like? What does the beginning 3 months look like? And suddenly when you break it down, everything starts to become easier. And what happens when things become easier is that we do more of that stuff. And when we do more of that stuff, we get the momentum. And then suddenly we kick into, oh my goodness, I'm actually doing this. This is great. So I want to share an exercise with you now that you can come back to whenever you like. This is your exercise to keep. I would like to claim it as my own. It's really not. It's a well-known coaching tool, but it's one that really works for me because it helps me to gain clarity. So what you can do is write 3 columns. In the first column, you want to write be. So all the things that you want to be. Second, do all the things you want to do. This could be adventures. This could be activities or projects. It could be any kinds of things. And finally, what you want to have. And this isn't necessarily about the latest designer handbag. It could be, I want to have Monday mornings off where I'm unavailable for anybody. Or I want to sit in my pajamas, uninterrupted, eating ice cream and watching the 14th season of America's Next Top Model, whatever it is. So I don't just want you to think about this as materially. I want you to think about it for your life. And I think one thing to say as well with this exercise is sometimes as we're writing these things down, we can start to edit ourselves. We can start to say, oh, maybe, well, I could never do that, or I'm a bit out of sync, or maybe that's not going to work for me, or maybe my time has passed. But there will be a way that you can incorporate your wants and wishes and desires into your life, which is really exciting. So I just want you to take out your phone or your notebook, and I just want you to capture this if you would like to do so. And just write down a few things that are in the mix. In your head at the moment, those things that maybe come into your head that you can't stop thinking about. And really consider what that looks like. And I'm going to share with you a way that therefore you can take your goals from this. So you might want to take a bit of time this weekend and really flesh them out and get excited, have a glass of wine, do all the things, get your favorite notebook and pen and do that. But the way that you can make these goals work for you is actually realizing what these goals are all about. So there's a lovely little SMART system for it. So firstly, getting really specific about what it is that you want. So these sort of stock phrases of get healthy, or earn more money, or do more exercise, or move house, whatever it might be. Really think about the specifics of that. What does that mean? And really give yourself the opportunity of having that detail so you know much more. Secondly, finding a way to think about how measurable it could be. I mean, I'm 37 today, but I still love a sticker chart. Like, if you give me the opportunity to go tick on my fridge, I just feel like I'm winning at life. But that might be an Excel sheet for you. It might be a picture that you take every single day. Really think, and this is all about not necessarily just my formula. This is about what works for you. Because actually, if somebody said I had to deal with an Excel spreadsheet every day, I don't know if I'd be that thrilled about it, to be honest. Thirdly, thinking about something that is really achievable. So sometimes we set these big goals, which is great. Maybe you have a huge goal for 2019, but maybe the first bit is going to be achieved in 2019 and the second bit in 2020. So make sure that it's achievable. So for example, if you're thinking about, I'm going to give a random one of exercise. If you've never run it before in your life, you don't have to do a marathon tomorrow. In fact, I wouldn't, because it's probably not a great idea. But really making sure that these are achievable. Likewise with realistic. Your goals have to be something that you can control as well. Sometimes we can feel like we want all of these things, but they're reliant on other people. So really connecting with that and making sure that you can have ownership of it. And number 5, timely, making sure that you put a date on what it is that you want to achieve. How often have we said, well, I'll do that next week, or that will happen next summer, or in the next 5 years? It's all kind of random. But if you figure out what those big goals are and where you're going, you can start to make little deadlines along the way. So what are you going to do on a weekly basis, or a monthly basis, or a daily basis even? And again, we're not going for perfection here. I always just talk about setting yourself up for success, because none of us are winning all the time, let's be honest. Maybe you are, I don't know, but great if you are, brilliant. Okay, and I finally, just to finish with, I've got some questions for you today. I've written all these banging notes, but I haven't read them. This is interesting. Okay. So I want you to think about how you're going to set yourself up for success this coming year. And get really honest about the things that you actually want. Not the things that you should, not the things that because you're of a certain age that maybe you should. The stuff that you feel really called to do. And I want you to make some decisions on how you want to track this. So do you want to do goals for the whole year? Do you want to do the first 6 months? Do you want to even just go into January? Somebody booked me for something in January the other day, and I was like, oh my goodness, this just feels ridiculous. It's like when we suddenly put flip-flops on for the first time in the summer, it just feels so out of body. My next question is, what is going to help you to start? And do you know what? Starting is the absolute key, and it's the hardest bit. If you ever have to leave the house, or get out of bed on a cold morning, the hardest bit is actually getting out of bed. So really thinking about what are going to be those things for you that are going to help you start and be excited about what you're doing. And I also want to give you that question of why now? Because quite often, I don't know about you, but I see some of the goals on my list year on year on year. And sometimes I look at these goals, I'm like, still haven't done it. Why is that not happening? And so in order to make yourself move forward in that way, really give yourself an idea of why now and why it's important. Because if you have that backup, if you have those backing dancers cheering you on, going for it right now, it's going to make everything so much easier. Also thinking about what would you gain. So if this went really well for you and you actually achieved it, what other brilliant things in your life would you gain? Get really excited about that. So when I think about, for example, the creative haven at the bottom of my garden that I would like to have one day, I think about the work that I'm going to be able to create. I think about the legacy. I think about all the different things that I will be able to do in that space. So get really excited about it as well. Also as well, what is going to keep you on track? So on those really hard days, those really tricky days where you're like, don't make me do it, I don't want to, or when you have that dip, you have that moment where things just feel really hard. Because you will have those tests as you go through things. You will have those moments of like, is this really for me? Is it? Or is this a message that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing? But it's thinking about those resilience of what's going to keep you on track. Because suddenly I thought when I was a child that by the time I got to this age, I would have all the answers, which is kind of worrying because I have some of them, but not all of them for sure. But what has increased over the years is my bounce back rate. So the more I put myself out of my comfort zone, I recognize those things much quicker, and it's much easier to be able to go, okay, breathe, be sad, cry it out, da, 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 and then move on. So you can come and continue the conversation with me. What I've created for you are some videos behind the scenes. So if you do want them, feel free to email me and I will send you a secret link. But I just want you to finish with writing down 3 things today that you want to take away from this session. 3 things that you're going to action, and again, they don't have to be huge things. It could be, I'm going to email that person. I'm going to actually be brave enough to pitch to this magazine, Stylist Live, whatever it might be. Or you're going to book that appointment. Or you're going to move some furniture around in your living room so you can start to think about that sofa that's going to come into it. But this is really important. What I don't want you to take away from this of going, oh, I feel really inspired. Yeah, definitely, great. And then tomorrow have forgotten all about it. Because also, how many times have we all written those resolution lists that we've written them, we felt really proud of them, we've folded them up, we've put them somewhere really safe, that we have no idea where they are. And then suddenly you find them 18 months later and you think, oh, we're in a different year now. This is confusing. So I want you to find ways that your goals and what you want are actually really part of your current life. They're not somewhere way in the future. They're actually moving and shaking and cooking right now, and they're very much in the mix. So if you do want a bit of accountability as well, feel free. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know. I'm not going to send you down some weird like sales funnel or anything like that just to say that. Don't worry. But I would love it if you let me know what you want to do, or you tell somebody next to you, or you tell somebody that you meet today, because guaranteed somebody in this room will be able to help you get where you want to go. So I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for listening, everyone, and good luck. Thank you. Thank you.
That was so positive and motivating. What an empowering session. Thank you, Nicky.
Thank you.
Yes, you can continue the conversation on social media using the handles behind me. Don't forget to hashtag. But first, please join me one more time thanking the brilliant Nicky Raby.
Thank you.